Yo, it's your boy Brandon.
It's your boy Brad.
And welcome to the School Days Podcast. As usual, follow us on social media platforms. Instagram is School Days Podcast and Twitter is the School Days.
Yes.
You have a very special guest in the building with us today, Sunshine.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, you said it nice too.
Sunshine. Is there any, did you ever talk to your parents about the meaning behind the name, or is that a nickname? Or
no,
okay.
Sunshine was a name given to me because my mom was told that she couldn't have kids.
Oh wow.
Right. So I'm the only child, by the way.
Oh, so you're the blessing. Man.
Right. Why couldn't she name me Blessing though? Right.
Yeah, I mean,
growing up Sunshine, you know how difficult that was. Harlem Nights.
No, tell us about that. You got trouble with the name?
No. Well, if you watch Harlem Nights, you remember that Sunshine was a whore that made Richie leave his whole family.
I thought you were talking
about it was like really like this is what we're doing. Yeah. Why'd you do it, Mom? But no, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's get right into it. I saw you doing a lot of youth advocacy now, but that came off of some troubles in the past of you being incarcerated.
Correct.
Can we talk about what led to the incarceration and your transition into the youth advocacy and everything you're doing now?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, they say prison change your perspective for good and for bad. And I feel like even though it wasn't a crime of my own crime, I got caught up.
Yeah.
And when I say I got caught up, it wasn't like I was sitting there and strategizing how to, basically criminalize the system or anything like that. It was growing up with someone and I trusted them. And we reconnected and pretty much they got caught and they sent the police to me.
Yeah.
So it was like a spiral effect of I got caught. There's somebody else you need to go look at and go out there and go get her.
Yeah, Sunshine did it too. Sunshine.
Right. So it was just like, okay. So from that particular situation, I learned a lot. I learned that we need to be leery of the company we keep. I've learned that we need to, just because we grow up in these areas, and when I say these areas, I mean my area. I grew up in South Jamaica, Queens. Okay. And a lot of us, when we grow up, we pretty much when we leave the hood or we evolve or we're educated more or we just detach from those people, we feel there is a level of responsibility to still reconnect with them. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I reconnected. And when I reconnected back with this individual, I landed in federal prison.
They don't always have the best intentions for you when you...
No, they don't always have the best intentions, but it's like, what are we connecting on? I'm going this level. I'm going not this level. I'm going in this direction, and you're going in this direction. Yeah. Now, people are around for seasons and reasons. So if I grew up with you, that means obviously I'm growing, which means I'm outgrowing you. Yeah. Which means I need to go in a different direction. So, coming from those areas, we tend to reconnect back with people that we shouldn't connect with. You outgrow them.
So what was your time like, in prison where you started, you wrote the book, as you mentioned before, and, you had, I'm sure you had a growth. What was the epiphany or the moments you had that kind of changed your mindset?
The epiphany was the realization that I wasn't going home. That was the epiphany, like, wait a minute. That first night. So to go back, before I was sentenced to do federal time, I was locked up in a county prison. And those first couple of days, a lot of people... You even ask them, what days do you remember of your incarceration? It's normally that first night. That first night is very difficult because you're not even in general population. So you're in a cell for about 3 days straight until you are cleared for your TB shot and until your mental record comes back. So you have nothing but 3 long days to think about it being in a cell the size of a project bathroom. Okay, so I don't know if you want to Google that. A housing bathroom, and you without... with your food being slid underneath. And that was the epiphany, like, wait a minute. I don't know if I'm coming home because I didn't know. Yeah. You don't know. You really don't know.
So communicating with you from the outside.
Not even communicating. It's bigger than that. It's once you're behind the wall, it's something that you don't ever want to experience. Not knowing. Yeah. So it's like, I'm here, and even if you're going back and forth to court, you just don't know. Yeah. It's my life is in someone else's hands. It's a difference when you oversleep and you say, you know what, I know I'm going to get that next bus. Yeah. Or I'm going to call my job and tell them I'm going to be a little late. You kind of know what you're going to do because you're controlling it. You're the author and the finisher of what's going on. Not in prison. Not in jail. You don't know. You're like, am I going to get out? Am I going to get a bail? And are they going to let me go? And again, my case was in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So you're in Commonwealth. They don't like New Yorkers coming over there to do any type of crime. So it was like, am I coming home? What's going on? So that was the epiphany. Like, you're not controlling your life anymore.
Exactly what did you get locked up for?
I got locked up for conspiracy to utter counterfeit notes. And that's a federal offense because, you're playing with the government's money, legal tender. So that pretty much put me, it was a year sentence. And half of my time I did in the county before getting bailed out, bonded. And the other time was done in Danbury. Okay. And the transition of doing jail time, which is different than federal time, is the waiting. Yeah. But when I got into Danbury, and I'm gonna tell you a quick story, because when I got locked up, I couldn't see couldn't get commissary to change, get undergarments. So when I came into Danbury, I was so I couldn't say institutionalized, but I was so worried about not having my undergarments. I had like 6 bras on and 6 pair of panties. Wow. Because I didn't know whether or not I was going to see. And it was like, no, honey, you got to pack that up and put that in there. And you got to mail it off. I'm like, what do you mean? How am I going to wait around? I did this last time. I don't want to go through this. I don't want to have to wait. So, again, the epiphany of you cannot control your life. You can't control it behind that wall. Wow. So I had to make the best of it and just...
Yeah. I mean, you had some control.
Thank God. Thank God for core links. Thank God for all of those things that the federal... FBOP has. A lot of people say, "Oh, they don't have." No, we have Skype, which connect the families. They have activities sometimes to kind of keep the families together, and they give you the ability to kind of, they push they were. I don't know now. I've been home since 15, but they push the agenda of be an author, write, be productive.
So you have Sunny 101
yes.
to 10 Commandments of a Boss Chick. So how did the idea for this come about while you were, doing your time?
Doing my vacation?
Yeah. You were away at college. When you was at college, how did the book come
out? My son ain't believe that. College. Well, actually, when I came home from the bond, I said to my husband, wouldn't it be dope if I wrote a book to kind of tell, and it was originally called The Rose That Grew from Concrete. And I wanted to pretty much tell the story of how you can actually grow up I grew up in 3 housing developments, got out of the hood, got education, was in law school, by the way. Wow. I had to withdraw. I made it so far only for the environment that I escaped to have an individual pull me back in. So it was just like, no, this has to be a story that's told, because I know there is a girl that's in that neighborhood. There's a girl that's in South Jamaica. There's a girl that's in those rural areas. LA, it could be DC, it could be B-more, anywhere that made it and still feels like she owes just a couple of people that she might have left behind to come in. So I said, the rose that grew from concrete, no, we're going to change it to the 10 Commandments. And I said commandments because I said, what would be the best way to teach someone something really quickly? 10 bullet points. Yeah. And then I had read 48 Laws of Power, and I kind of took the structure of 48 Laws of Power.
How's the list of?
The list of, right, the list of and the breaking down. That's where I got my original structure from. And I said, what would be the commandments? And I said, you know what do we do in the neighborhood? What do our young girls do? Well, when I grew up, I didn't love myself. I didn't have a father figure. I used to watch TV shows like The Cosby Show. And I used to watch Family Matters, and I used to say, well, damn, is that supposed to be how it is in the family? It was just me and my mom was thugging it out. That was it. It was struggling mom, trying to make ends meet. And, right side of the house was the notorious biggest drug dealer ever. And the left side was a hoe house. Wow. So I knew I didn't want to be a hoe, and I knew I didn't want to be the drug dealer's wife or the drug dealer, even though I dabbled in that too. But I just said, you know what, this is not going to work for me. So those were the examples of not to be. And I thought about everything I went through in life, and then I just made those commandments. Thou shalt love and protect yourself at all costs. That's commandment 1. Okay.
Well, is that the most important commandment, like that you feel like, or what do you think?
That's the most important commandment for both women and men, because without you loving yourself, how could you love another human being? Can't love another human being, right, without self-love, right? Yeah. You can't. Bitter, I was growing up being very bitter. I was in 3 different high schools. I was a very troubled teen. I didn't know how to transfer my anger into conversation. I didn't know how to be mature. So it was, I'll lash out and catch her attention. And, I did a couple of times. And then you just have different commandments. Love yourself. Thou shalt be better, not bitter. Thou shalt be a gold digger, not a gold digger. That is for the woman to go after her own riches, then bring that back with that brother, and y'all break bread together. You know what I'm saying?
Money will chase you when you chase the goals.
Oh my God, man!
Exactly,
it comes after. You can attract it. You speak it to its existence. You put it in the universe. Yeah. And then it's just other commandments. Thou shalt be leery of the company you keep. I ended off with that, pretty much giving you a mirror of my crime and telling you, watching your surroundings.
All right. So we first met you during Aisha Hall's screening of her show.
Yes.
Appearance on American Gangster, Trap Queens.
Yes.
What is your relationship with Aisha?
Okay, so Aisha Hall is my prison sister. That's a term we have when you have served federal time either together or you've gone through that similar background. Okay. And Aisha Hall was introduced to me after by a fellow inmate who was serving time with her. And I was ignited with Aisha. We talked for a couple of hours. Off and on, because you can't really be on the phone like that in federal prison. But she called, we spoke, and I was like, listen, before I left Danbury, I finished with one project. That project was 10 Commandments of a Boss Chick. I said I started to do something called the Pink Panther Click. And I couldn't because I had something called writer's block. So I don't know if you know what that is, but writer's block is once you're out of that element, I had to get myself back into society.
Mindset.
I had to get back to, it was like books where my son is waiting for me. My husband is home. This is about my family now. I've given you guys enough time, but I had a photo shoot and myself and 7 other fellow inmates, we did a photo shoot. And in prison, you can't touch each other. So it was so uniquely done where I had to combine 2 pictures together to make it look like we were touching each other. Yeah. And, Pink Panther actually came from the fellow inmates' old record label, and I said, "Listen, we're not a record label, but I can take that story and spin it, and we can use that and say the girls had a record label, and it was originally about 8 females. This is before Aisha and I even met. Okay. But once I was released, and she got transferred to the fellow inmate is Jamila Davis. When she got transferred to Alderson, it was all fair game. It was like, wait a minute. You said there's a writer there. What's up? I got writer's block out here, but I got I got the skeleton. She's the meat and the potatoes. If you see the American Gangster, I just said that how she was, and that's it. Me and her Skype back and forth was writing that book. And Pink Panther Click was born. And that's how that book was birthed.
Yeah. So I know you can't speak for everybody about this, but how's, as a Black woman, or your individual experience, how was your experience readjusting back into the real world and getting back on your feet, and maybe financially or spiritually, what was that like?
That's a great question, because a lot of people don't realize the financial portion didn't really affect me as much because I had a strong king that was out here. Listen, we had businesses, and those businesses were not affected because those businesses didn't do any crimes. So we were able to still maintain the consulting firm that deals with real estate, legal expertise. Even though I had to withdraw from law school, we still were able to keep that business, because that's one thing that the government can't take is your knowledge. Maybe they can take away some certificates, but they can't take away your knowledge and your ability to practice, paralegal work, which is like jailhouse attorney stuff. But when I came back home, my adjustment was more so about my family. So it was difficult to me, and I know it seems strange because it was just my son was, had abandonment issues. And I would have conversations with him and say, I'll be right back. And he would be like, are you going to leave me again? And that would kind of, oh man, that crushed me. Okay, so the case started in 13. He was about 4. And when everything ended for me, he was about maybe 7. You know what I'm saying? Going back and forth. Yeah. So it was like, I missed that first day of school. I missed that. I missed one Thanksgiving. I missed one Christmas. I missed one New Year's. But that was a lot for me. Being a full-time mother, never missing anything with my son. So that pretty much, affected him in a very negative way. And it was that's the adjustment portion right there. The guilt. You have guilt. I mean, if you're a real mother, or him on a visiting floor saying to me, let's go home. Again, remember I said that epiphany? When you can't control your life. So it was pretty much difficult for me to adjust because I had to get away from the guilt. And that took a lot of unraveling of layers.
Yeah. So was it more of the outside stuff that was difficult for you, or was being inside what you faced inside?
No, inside, again, what I did was I kind of, again, growing up in those rough neighborhoods, drug raids and all of that, what I did was I just said, okay, you're back. You're back in the hood now. And those instincts just click in. It's like canine instincts. It never goes. It's sad, but those are good instincts to have. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You walking home at night, you feel something. Those instincts, it just the instinct kicked in. It was like, okay, you know what? You're away. You're at a camp, and which I really literally was. Danbury as a prison camp, but you're at a camp, and treat this place that you're at like you're on a street or your first day in high school. It sounds crazy because it looked like high school. I don't want no friends. I'm not looking for no friends. I'm coming to do my time. Don't ask me. And I was very sassy. Don't ask me how long I got. I'm not going to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Just we don't need to have any of these discussions. Very straightforward.
Okay. All right, let's switch it up a little bit. I don't want to get too deep.
Right.
So
positive thing.
Yeah. Let's talk about the plant-based skincare line you have. I'm hoping to say it's Yale Skincare.
No, Yale Skincare.
Yale, sorry.
No, Yale Skincare is Yandy.
Okay. Oh, right. Sorry, but I saw you guys together working on it. Okay.
Yes. So what I did was every now and then, shout out to Yandy Smith. What I do is I promote for her because I actually did use the Yale Skincare, but she actually did my photo shoot for Ambitious Beauty Collection.
Okay.
So she came in. She said, "Wait a minute, you doing beauty and you're not involved in me?" And I'm like, "Okay."
Sorry. So let's talk about your beauty collection.
Yes, Ambitious Beauty Collection was something that was actually created for the everyday woman. It's glitter that you can put all over your body to your eyes. I have it on my eyes right now. I don't wear a lot of makeup on the face. I just like the eyes. My face is very sensitive. So I figured, why not have it plant-based? A female by the name of Nikki, she had a brand called Selfies Cosmetics. And she was like, you're such an influencer. A lot of people look at what you do, what you wear. I was thinking maybe you can, we can join forces. So then a friend of mine named Rima connected me and Nikki, and we created Ambitious Beauty Collection. Shout out to my husband. He named it Ambitious Beauty Collection, by the way. Yeah. So got to give him his flowers, right?
Did you inspire some of your business endeavors?
Yes. So I was working a 9-to-5. In 2010, got laid off from this job, and it was like my dream job. I was paralegal. I was working for the bigwigs, the attorneys, but what I was doing was I was restraining bank accounts, and I was ruining lives. People were losing their homes, and I didn't feel comfortable, but the pay was comfortable. And around the time, the market collapsed in real estate, and I got laid off. And when I got laid off, I was devastated. And he inspired me. He said, "Listen, you got degrees." You can do this without them. You do know that, right? And I had like a fear of flying, and I'm like, oh my God, I could never be an entrepreneur. Now look, 8 businesses later. Wow. You couldn't tell me that. And he inspired me. He said, keep going. He said, do it. He said, go ahead, kick your feet up, do what you need to do. So I put things in motion, whatever certifications that were needed additionally, researching, location, anything that was needed. He made it so comfortable for me where I didn't have a care in the world. It was take this time out right now and do what you need to do. And I did. And now look, we're 10 years thriving.
That's dope.
Yes.
That's dope. Like, you keep talking about how your whole life and your journey has been like a partnership with you and your husband. How, like for the listeners, how important do you think it is to find the right partner?
It's very
life partner.
A life partner is very important. You can tell a man by the woman he dates. Same thing with, they always say that about just the man, but it's the woman too. He's going to push you. And that's an acronym I got in there. One of them is teamwork make the dream work. So yes, that is a very important thing to talk about in the 10 Commandments. I have to go back there, but teamwork make the dream work is about pretty much finding that partner that's your yin to your yang. You know, if you guys don't have the same vision or ultimately the same goals or the principles, you guys are going to stray at some point. Both being from inner city, both growing up as only children with our mom struggling to make ends meet. He mirrored me. And it was almost instant that, you know, your birthday is September, mine's is September. You were born 2 weeks before me. It was just too much. You know what I'm saying? After having like all these horrible relationships, I said, you know what? The reason why I'm probably not flourishing and going where I need to go, number one, is because my father needed to undo some of the things he did. Those relationships, that's your first love. And number two, I need to love myself. And ultimately, I need to find a partner of equal value that want to see me win, even if he's not winning. See, that's the thing. You got to find someone, a queen that's going to say, even if it's not my win, King, I want to see you win too. You know what I'm saying?
It ultimately is, though, if it's all coming to the same household. And it's,
yes, but sometimes, yes, it ultimately comes back to the whole house, the entire household. But there's going to be a win that you don't benefit off of if you champion him on. You know, just sometimes you just got to champion him on. You know, you guys are here. I don't know what your relationships are, but there's no women here. But they're going to champion you while you go in. You know, hey, have a good day, knock them dead, encouraging you. So that acronym couple is close communication. For C, O for openness. You know what I'm saying? U for understanding, P for peacemaking, L for loyalty, and E for esteem. That esteem is what I just told y'all about. Pushing your partner. You know what I'm saying? Pushing them and letting them know you're doing good today. Because if you don't have someone pushing you, think about the negative of that. Think about that. And think about someone that's pushing you. Dude, you're doing good. I seen you today. I'm so proud of you. Wouldn't that make you go a little harder? That was what I was missing in my you know, just me.
It's hard to motivate yourself.
Isn't it? And it's so cliche. It's like, I'm going to motivate myself. Like, no, I don't want to. I want someone to kind of give me a little oomph. You know?
But how did you find the self-love before, you know, loving someone else?
Actually, I didn't. I loved him before I loved myself. I had to unlearn and relearn. I had to love me again. And because I loved me, it didn't mean I loved him any less. It just meant that, hold up, you know I love you, but let me take a step back and love me. Because guess what? When I love me, I love you more. That's when you know there's a difference, you know? The love I had for him was good, but it became great when I became solid with myself. You know, people say, you know, find yourself a soulmate. But you can't find a soulmate until you find your own soul first.
Dropping gems.
It's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth.
Yes. Let's get to your other book.
Yes. Okay.
Wine and Wealth.
Yes.
Understanding, improving, and protecting your credit.
Absolutely.
How did you fall into that industry of finance?
Okay. Well, 2010, remember when I said I was in that industry? Well, fast forward, I was just trading bank accounts. I was doing those things for attorneys, and I felt like, wait a minute, I need to change the narrative. Instead of locking up bank accounts and putting judgments and putting liens on homes, I need to help my people. And in doing that, not saying that Wine and Wealth came at that time, it was more so about me educating my community and letting them know, listen, credit is very important. At the age of 18, while I was going to John Jay College of Criminal Justice, outside there were a lot of credit card people. And they lured me over. Okay? And they do this.
It's going to do that to
oh, they got me. Oh, they got me. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is credit? It's bad when they are the ones that educate you first. That needs to be in your household. You need to be teaching your kids how to balance a checkbook, how the importance of entrepreneurship is, that you don't have to work for anyone. We're told to get a government job. How many of us have been told that? Get a government job. This is what's going to be secure. No, secure is building generational wealth. And that's what inspired that. Generational wealth, credit, entrepreneurship. The part 2 is coming out in another couple of days. That's entrepreneurship. But my mom, lack of financial literacy. My mom, I built my mother's credit. I helped her with her own credit. So it was like, you giving me a credit card? What is this? What's going on here? And then I said to my mom, do you know what credit is? Do you know what that is? No, I don't know what that is. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see if they asked me if I can add a name on it. This is 18. Mind you, I'm 40. This is 18. So I said, I'm gonna throw your name on there. Is that okay? That's fine. My mom spiked from a 2 score to a 850 in like 60 days.
Wow.
That's when I knew the power of credit. And I said, oh, I think I'm tapping into something. Yeah, so I just started doing people around the neighborhood for free.
Yeah.
You can't always blame your parents for that too, because they didn't
she
get
didn't
that
know.
information.
She didn't know.
And they were learning from the creditors. Oh, these are professionals, so let's take their information.
Oh, my mom thanks me now so much. It's so crazy because she's like, yo, I really didn't know anything about credit. I didn't know anything. I was like, Ma, that was a hidden gem.
Yeah, I do think that's the biggest problem right now that we have in our
Black community.
Yes.
And they didn't have the internet to just Google everything. No. There wasn't, books
everything
just all
was
around.
Encyclopedia and things of that nature. But I didn't have Google in 1996, 97.
Well,
It was a little research for me too. It was like, well, Mom, listen.
So your technology was better than your mom's, though.
Yeah, definitely. But the desire to want to know. My mom didn't want to know. She didn't. She wanted to get that paycheck. Exactly. She didn't have it. And again, shout out to my mom, because my mom is top of the line at her organization where she works at. It's just that she said this was what it was. I had 9-10 other siblings. The baby went to college. That's all they could afford for. It was 10 kids. The baby. My mom wasn't the baby, so it was like, well, Mom, I'm going to college. And whatever gyms I have. And she said that you're a smart girl, you'll figure it out, and you can come back and you can teach me. And I did that.
No, that's great. That's great. Sunshine, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming through, dropping all these gems.
Yes, I hope I didn't overload your head.
No.
You asked me a question about youth advocacy. I didn't go over that. But
we can do that.
No, Investing in Us. That's an organization that my spouse actually started. That's for children to study abroad. That's his portion of it. He invests in children that wants to study abroad. All of that, he drops the, give him. I wouldn't say drop the bag, but that's technically what he do. Drop the bag. Make sure a child went to one particular student went to Africa. Okay. And that was dope. She wanted to do cosmetology, and my portion of Investing in Us is the teaching in the schools. He does that as well, but I'm more hands-on with those kids. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see every 6 weeks I'm in the schools. That book that we just were talking about, both books are actually curriculums. Oh, wow. So I turn both books into curriculums. Both are 6 weeks. And it's important to teach. I said, okay, well, I didn't know. They're going to know. You're not going to be a child around me. If you got children, you better let them know. Sonny going to be over there schooling them on credit and lifestyle gems, because that's what we lack thereof. But that's what, shout out to Investing in Us. That's our baby. That's our organization. And it does a lot to give back to the youth. And when I saw that I was missing some things, I figured that inspired me to give back. By what I was
It's beautiful that you're making a change. And
thank you. Change is important.
The change made yourself is, I'm sure rubbing off on a lot of people that you come across. So I hope listeners are inspired. I'm inspired. I know that much.
Yeah, maybe you guys can do a curriculum class with me. You're doing media stuff. You're on broadcasting.
I mean, this is the School Days podcast. Listen, it makes sense.
Doesn't it look? Oh, look, that's a good plug.
It makes sense. The School Days podcast.
The School Days podcast. Investing in Us needs to have the School Days podcast. There we go. Let's talk about
We'll be in touch. It's off the mic. Is there anything you want to plug in, or any up and coming projects you have?
Well, the up and coming projects I really can't talk about. Yandy would beat me on that one, and then the other people beat me on the other, so I can't really talk about that. But we do have some shows that are lined up, and you will see, the Sisterhood connectivity on the screen soon. Just to my girls, if they're listening or whatever, the girls that I teach at schools, different schools, just keep your head up, and your dress down, please. I'll see you soon. And just shout out to everybody. Really, thank you for having me.
Instagrams, Twitters?
Yes, Instagram is Sunny Money Queens. www.sunshinesmithwilliams.com. Investing in Us. I mean, even the Pink Panther clique, That's my prison system reform movement. Shout out to the PPC, all 37 members. A lot of us.
You're all deep.
And that's pretty much. And of course, my husband. He's my. It's my dog right there.
Can we get a name for the?
Yeah. I can say it. Look, thank you. Look.
Yeah, I mean, he was a big part of the podcast.
His name is Holiday Williams. I love me some Holiday Williams. That's my biggest supporter, my biggest advocate.
Oh, Sunshine on Holiday. You got,
Isn't that crazy, right?
The signs everywhere, man. All right. So as usual, follow us on social media platforms. The Instagram is School Days Podcast. And Twitter is the School Days.